Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first Rangers Review transfer show of the week. As we have been informing you guys, we're hoping to record 2 of these per week all throughout January. And it brings me great joy to say that we're joined by the transfer man, Chris Jack. How goes it, Chris?
Just moving my microphone into a more suitable position there so people can hear us. It's been another busy old morning, but hopefully it's an encouraging morning from a Rangers perspective.
Yep, now there's an update from your good self on the website regarding Andreas Skov Olsen, who Rangers are keen on bringing to Ibrox on loan from Wolfsburg. Can you tell us what the latest is with regards to that?
The latest is that it's getting there. It's moving closer. As always, when we speak about transfers, it's not done until it's done. It's not a scarf above the head. It's not an RTV interview. It's not at that stage yet. There is still work to be done, but that work is ongoing. We understand that Skov Olsen, well, we reported on the website yesterday that he was a player that Rangers were interested in, that they had made initial inquiry about. We understand today that he is keen to make the move to Ibrox. That's a move that he's open to, and terms in that regard are getting closer to being agreed. So that's obviously one part of the equation. The other part of the equation for Rangers is obviously terms with Wolfsburg. They have to agree a loan fee. They have to agree a structure on that. So that's where at lunchtime on Tuesday, that's where we are at. We understand that those talks will continue, and that Rangers are hopeful that an update or an agreement can be reached. But if the player fancies it, if the player is open to the move, that's clearly a big positive for Rangers. There's no point in going to Wolfsburg and putting a framework of a deal in place only for the player himself to say, actually, I don't fancy Scotland, I don't fancy Glasgow, I don't fancy Rangers. So the fact that he's open to the move is certainly a good thing. In a bigger picture, it addresses an area of the side. Now, we've spoken a lot this window, a lot on this show, a lot on the briefing. Rangers need to try and strengthen in the area that Skov Olsen would certainly strengthen. So there's a fair bit of excitement amongst the Rangers fans about this one, and understandably so. So hopefully, all going well, Rangers can get that one over the line. But as we say on the website, and as we've touched on there is still work to be done. So don't be rushing down to the superstore and getting Skov Olsen on the back of your shirt just yet. Hopefully, the next time that we're able to do a video and we're able to put something out on social media, hopefully it can be a bit more than that. But keep your money in your pocket as it stands right now.
Yep. Now, only just joined Wolfsburg last summer for 14 million euros, so not small change. This fee that Rangers would have to pay Wolfsburg, you'd imagine, Chris, would be pretty substantial for what would be 5-month loan deal.
I think it would be still trying to get to the bottom of the financials on this deal, but you only have to look at what he has gone for just a few months ago, and you think what he will be on per week, to know that this is going to be a substantial financial investment for Rangers. I think it's a real sign of intent from the board and the investors that they are willing to back Daniel Rule in this way. We also had the first deal of the window, and Q&A being announced at the weekend, £4 million. We'll come on and we'll touch on Romans at £3 million. And if you can then go and add Skov Olsen into that, plus maybe another one, I wouldn't completely rule that out either. You're really seeing the manager being backed, and I think he deserves that backing. Now, we spoke on the briefing with Josh on Monday morning after the Aberdeen game and spoke about the job that Danny Rule has done and the impact that he has made. He deserves that backing if he thinks that the league is there to be won, which clearly it is, given the situation that Rangers are in right now. If the league is there to be won, you have to go full tilt at it. You can't be sitting in 6 weeks or 6 months with any regrets, thinking if only we'd put a wee bit extra into that player, or if only we'd gone for that one rather than that one. It's all there for Rangers to go and grasp, and I think it's a real real sign of intent from the club and the board that they are willing to do these deals at this financial outlay.
Yep, good to see Rangers are now pretty active in that market after a pretty slow start to the window. You mentioned there Tour Romans. We're expecting that move to be finalised in the near future, Chris, and he will join, of course, Toshi Chukwueze at Ibrox.
I hope so, mainly because it would stop people asking us about it. It would stop it would stop the WhatsApps, and it would stop the tweets, and it would stop people in the comment section saying what's happening with it. It's all in place. It's just a case of Rangers finalising that and doing the announcement on it. We asked again this morning if there was going to be anything today, and there's no update as yet on when that deal will actually be announced. But nothing to suggest that there's any issues in that regard. So Tour Romans will be a Rangers player as far as we understand it, unless something drastic has happened that we're not aware of. But we don't think that's the situation. So hopefully the fans will be able to celebrate that one sooner rather than later.
Yep, Romans and Chukwueze hopefully in the team. I would be starting them against Annan on Friday. Let's see what they're made of. We spoke on the show this morning when I was on with Blair about the noise, your story you had on the website yesterday surrounding Jedi Gassama and, of course, interest from clubs in Europe and the MLS, which was a bit of a surprise. And we also touched on Finlay Curtis in discussions with Kilmarnock about a loan move there. What can you, for those maybe that never tuned in the morning, Chris, those two players, we expect Curtis to head out the door, Gassama not.
Yes, let's start on Finlay Curtis. I think he needs as much first team football as he can get. That's not going to happen at Rangers. He also had a really good start to the season. There was interest in him from across the Premiership. Kilmarnock being one of those clubs in the summer regarding a loan deal, but Rangers decided at that stage to keep him as part of the first team squad. He also scored a couple of goals early on, and since then it's not really worked out. We've seen other players kind of come to the fore in those positions. Finlay just needs as many games as he can possibly get right now to kind of continue his development, and Kilmarnock makes a lot of sense. He's going to go in there, he's going to play under a manager and a coach, and Neil McCann and Billy Dodds, obviously, that know him well, having worked with him. So that's a deal that looks to make an awful lot of sense. I know Kelly are pushing to try and get that one sorted ahead of their own Scottish Cup tie this weekend. They would like to have him in sooner rather than later. So next couple of days we'll see what the situation is with Finlay Curtis, but he will move on. Gassama will not move on. When he does, or if he does at the end of the season, it won't be to the MLS. I think we can rule that one out. But clubs over there are keeping tabs on him. But we know that Villarreal have been watching him. We know that Club Brugge have inquired about him as well. But he wants to remain at Ibrox for the second half of the season. He clearly sees, like everyone at the club, that there is a title there to be won, and he fancies a crack at it. Come the summer, who knows? It depends where Danny Rule is, depends how he sees the squad evolution, what other deals Rangers are able to do. I think what we can say fairly certainly is Rangers will make a profit on him. They're going to make considerably more than the £2.2 million that they spent on him to bring him in from Sheffield Wednesday. So he could be one that come the summer there's a bit of talk about. But right now, I think we can end any notion of Gassama moving on. That's not something that he's thinking about. And you look at Rangers trying to strengthen the first team squad with these three deals that we've just spoken about. There are players there in the group, obviously, like Rodwell, like Cameron, likes of Danilo, like Rami, Dill, obviously. That one's hopefully going to go through to get him down to the Championship. So there are players there that Rangers will look to move on, but they're not in the market for selling any of their better players or any of their starters. They're keen to build rather than be like one step forward and one step back. So as we understand it, Gassama will not be moving on in this over the next fortnight and a bit that's left of this window.
There you go, folks. That is you up to date with all the latest transfer news when it comes to Rangers. If you want to read Chris's updates, transfer updates on the website, if you've not subscribed to the website, now is the time to do so. We've got a great offer on just now. You can see on the ticker below, £4 for just £4 for 4 months. So head on over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Big thank you to Chris, as ever, busy man, as always, certainly at this time of year. So thank you for your endeavour, Chris, and thank you to you all for tuning in to the show. I'll be back again tomorrow morning. I'm not entirely sure who I'm on with. It's not your good self, Chris, tomorrow, is it? Or
I think it's
I lose track of who's on with me during the week.
I think it's Stevie on Wednesday morning, and a wee teaser for people. We're hoping to record a talking point, myself and Stevie, at some point this week. So you'll have a double done of Stevie Wednesday and the talking point about at the weekend. So that's the plan for Wednesday. Before I go, I need to give a shout out to myself and the piece that's on the site regarding Jim Gillespie this morning.
Yes.
Hopefully people have had a chance to go and read that and get a look at it. Gives you a bit more insight into the process that resulted in Jim Gillespie being named as Rangers chief exec. That's a story that we broke on the website over the last couple of days, and then confirmed it over the weekend. So there's a bit of insight there on the process, what Andrew Kavanagh and Parag Marathi were looking for, why they've ultimately landed on Jim Gillespie, and what he will bring to Rangers when he starts life as CEO. So you've got some transfer stuff and you've got a big read. So I'm waiting to hit the phones and get back on it, because as we mentioned before we went live, you put something out and people always say, that's great, but what about the next thing? Or that's fine, but what about him? So that's what we're going to go and do for the rest of the day.
Good stuff. Right, folks, there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed that, as a guy just delivers a parcel to my front door. That's how you can tell that we're live on air. But there you go. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon, and we'll talk to you later on. Bye for now.